everyone to Chase Your Dreams, the place where dreams become reality. We have a great show lined up for you today. We are here with video engineer Sean Bartholomae. Did I pronounce that correctly? Because I always have a trouble pronouncing the last
Pretty close. Bartholomae. You're better than most, I'd say.
Yeah.
What's the correct?
You should know this by now.
I know.
We don't do full names the whole time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Hey, Sean, I want to start off the show asking, how did you get into video engineering?
So I took kind of a more unconventional route. I actually started in the live broadcast world on the audio side of things as an assistant audio engineer. And the engineer that I worked best with, so I would usually get lined up with him, he branched out and started his own transmission broadcast company. So I left and joined his team. It was just a two-person team years and years ago. And just began training under him and just doing as much research on the gear as possible. And a lot of times just getting thrown into it. And you kind of have to figure it out when it's going live. So you don't really have an option for failure there.
Oh yeah, no safety net when you're live, man. You better know your stuff.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. But yeah, just pretty much just training with him, and one of the most beneficial things is just working under people that have been in the industry for so long, because they have so much information that isn't in the manuals, and they've just figured it out over the years, and all the little quirks and tricks of the trade.
Well, yeah, and it's like what you guys were doing was like, I mean, things have been streamed before that, but like this is such a large scale, and you have a very specific video engineer job. Like what would you define like being a video engineer is? Like what would be the definition of your role?
My role? Well, one of the main things, so a lot of time I'm an EIC or an engineer in charge, so I'm overseeing the whole truck, so the directing side, the color correction, the audio mixing, and everything. But video engineer wise, it's basically, the most important thing is transparency. And so the end user isn't thinking about what's going on behind the scenes, that there's 8 or 20 cameras and they're going this way and that way, and there's just piles and piles of cables everywhere. So transparency is our main thing. But my biggest role is basically it's a lot of routing and just making sure my source gets where it needs to be. So it obviously needs to go to the truck. We have, like I said, our shader needs to see it so we can do live color correction. Director obviously has to see all the cameras. Audio guy needs to see. But then there's also, it's going out to like VIP tents, and it's going onto the big walls, side stage, and those have to be correct format. And as long as you're very organized, that's the main thing is. And then obviously it's going out to the broadcast truck and then out to the masses, so everyone could watch in the comfort of their own home.
So, I mean, I've been a part of different projects before, and I don't know what type of project uses a video engineer. I mean, is it just live stuff, or is it just the projects that can afford one? Or
yeah, it could be right. It could be anything, and that sounds silly, but basically anything involving video. So you have your live stuff. You have sports. You have a lot of. There's more the corporate side, so a lot of conventions like your auto shows, or like even one of the big ones in Chicago is like the Chicago Dental Society. So they'll have their, showing products, and they want to have basically a commercial going on a giant video wall. So sometimes it's all pre-recorded stuff. Sometimes it's live. But basically anything with video, you're gonna find a video engineer thrown in there somewhere.
all right, if you can afford one.
Yeah,
that is true.
Depending on the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, let me ask you a question. what were your favorite types of projects that you worked on in the past?
Well, primarily I work on music festivals, and I love those because it's never the same. I mean, it's still like you have your 8 to 10 camera setup, and the setup's kind of the same, but it's always different. There's always, sometimes, you know, you're in a desert, or you're in the mountains, or you're in downtown Manhattan. But the biggest one that always sticks out for me, was a fest called Desert Trip that had a few heavy hitters. It was Neil Young, Roger Waters, Paul McCartney, The Who, the Rolling Stones, and Bob Dylan.
Oh, wow.
So I was the video engineer for Bob Dylan's set, because they wanted to change it up. They didn't want the normal kind of look, like your front of house cameras. And so we did a 14 camera shoot with kind of a lot of obscure angles and all that. And so I had to be on stage, me and one other guy working with me. We were some of the few people that got to stay backstage in case anything went wrong with the cameras. So we're sitting there about 100 feet away. Bob Dylan's playing piano. And then we kind of just see these two people come up next to us. And I get a nudge from my buddy, and I look over, and it's Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. So we're there with Mick and Keith of the Rolling Stones watching Bob Dylan 100 feet away playing piano, and it still doesn't really register. It's kind of an out of body type of experience, but that was definitely one of my top gigs that always stands out.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Oh my gosh.
It's like a pinch me moment.
I know, we all need a drink
waiting
right
to
now.
wake up from this dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's so amazing. Oh my gosh. So obviously it's a great time. I mean, it sounds like a ton of work, but like,
right.
Yeah, a lot of rewards I'm hearing.
So yeah, a lot of times, you know, it's really long hours. Sometimes it's mud, it's rain, it's dirty, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have those experiences.
Yeah. So
it all kind of is worth it in the end.
With it being like so fun and so much hard work, like what do you think is like the ideal person? Like what kind of mindset? Who do you need to be able to do this kind of job?
So you have to be very organized for sure. Kind of a jack of all trades, because in my realm at least, because there's studio video engineers, so it's more organized. But in my live environment, we're out in the field, so there's dust, there's rain, there's hot sun. So you have to be able to think on your feet and you know, problem solve as quickly and efficiently as possible. You kind of have to be a little thick-skinned, because there's a lot of egos out there with some producers and directors. So you kind of just gotta get the job done. And yeah, you gotta work well under pressure, especially in the live environment. There's not really any time for freakouts. You kind of just have to calmly and, like I said, most efficiently just fix the problem and put out the fires.
That's awesome.
So let's pretend I was that person. I mean, I'm definitely not. I would be sweating bullets the whole time. But let's say I wanted to be a video engineer. What would you recommend as far as training or education goes?
So as far as education, a lot of people, you know, go to those schools. So there's like Columbia College, there's Full Sail, it comes to mind. So I know a lot of people that have that background or just a broadcast background. But I've also encountered tons of people that from all different realms that have just kind of worked their way and studied and gotten thrown in the pot and just trained on their own. And so there's kind of no set path.
Okay.
But I do know definitely if you want that degree, you're probably going to have a much better chance getting through the door.
Cool.
Well, Sean, I tell you, we're getting close to the end of the segment, and I wanted to ask you, if there's someone out there right now who is really serious about getting into video engineering, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them right now?
Know the gear. I would do as much research on the gear because it's always changing. There's always new stuff coming out. Just try to research the gear as much as possible, and any internship or apprenticeship that you could get in, that's your best way, and just listen to everything that those senior engineers have to tell you, because they have so much knowledge on it. It's pretty amazing what some of these guys know, and girls. Sorry.
Equal opportunity.
Hey, I did work with them. I did work with them once. As you guys have learned, we have the same last name. So this is my brother. I did work with them once, and there are a bunch of women in there, but I will say one time it was just me in there, and the head producer was like, Heather, thank you for bringing in a scent that isn't a male scent in this truck, because you're in a truck together all day.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
so funny.
Change of pace for me.
Yeah.
Wow, we had a great time. Sean, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with us.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
All right, then. Well, for everyone else, don't go away. We will be right back with Chase Your Dream. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chase Your Dreams. And we have an interesting theme today. Heather, can you tell us what the theme is today?
I'm going to call it Family Day. I want to introduce you guys to my sister and my brother-in-law, my sister Bridget and my brother-in-law Marc.
Woo woo.
Hi.
Welcome to this show.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot going on right now, with Zoom learning and everything right now. And we thought this would be a great segment to talk about homeschooling. Kind of talk about the myths and the myths and perceptions that most people have, and kind of get a better understanding of what it is and how it can work for some people. I'd like to start off the questioning asking, when did you guys start homeschooling your children?
We started, so this is the beginning of our third year. So it's been 2 years and a week. Yeah.
And what made you guys decide to start homeschooling?
Yeah, so, we'll give you the longer story if we have some time.
Yeah.
So we actually were thinking about it before we even wanted to have kids. It was probably for several years before we even thought about having kids. And I actually teach in the public high school as well. And so, as a teacher, I know all of you like to learn. As a lifelong learner, I'm always interested, and Bridget as well is a lifelong learner and an artist. We are always interested in what is the best way to do anything, and specifically education. And so we're trying to figure out what is the best form of education. And I'm not saying that homeschooling is the best education by any means for everybody. It's just, these are things that were very important to us. What is the best way to educate? And then we started, thinking about our own kids, and then had our own kids. And then we decided, okay, now we got to get serious. What really is best for us? I think so it's always been on our minds.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
We have friends that homeschool, and so we have friends too in general. And but in particular, we have friends who homeschool, and so that started giving us, planting the seed and giving us an idea and a vision that, okay, this is, it's, from what I understand, it was a little more weird and a little more strange in the 60s and 70s. But then as the 80s progressed and the 90s, it really has started to become much more of a just mainstream option. So we were starting to feel and see that as a possibility.
So, especially now with the pandemic, people are teaching their kids at home more, and there's virtual learning. How would you guys define homeschooling?
for us in particular, it's basically, well, we pick there's a lot of freedom in picking our own curriculum and picking the way that we want our kids to learn. So we're part of a co-op with a bunch of families that meet once a week and learn together and, do recess and lunch and all that. And then also a big part of it for us is having mentors for our kids.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's Bridget just did that's phenomenal. Like kind of example of what it is. I would give you more of a conceptual idea. Is to me, any education that is 100% completely controlled and directed by the parents or by the guardians. And ultimately, we do have a choice to send our kids to public school. So that is a choice. That is a parent choice or control. But I think you know what I mean. Homeschool, it's like we take control of every aspect of their education. We direct everything. We determine, what they learn. We determine how they learn, when they learn it. So it's like complete control rather than, choosing to let the public school do some of it.
Sure.
Let me ask you this. There's a lot of perceptions about what homeschooling is. Can you tell us what are some of the misconceptions out there about homeschooling?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest ones. But one of the questions that I was asked a lot when everything shut down was like, oh, this must just be the same for you. It must not have changed much. And my response was like, well, we're not shut-ins. Like I felt like that's what everyone just thought. Like you just shut yourself and your kids away and you never leave. And so the morning was the same. We'd stay home in the morning for like 3 hours and do, reading, writing, math, that kind of thing. But our afternoon, changes a lot. We go out to different activities, just like kids in the public school, our co-op and, being with family a lot is really important. So that's one huge one. What would be another?
Yeah, one? There's lots of jokes and memes out there that are pretty awesome. So the misconception that that homeschoolers are just learning in their pajamas all day is only 50% true. Like
sometimes it's like no shirt.
Sometimes it's no clothes at all. Sometimes it's like for many days, and sometimes it's just half the day. But that definitely is a huge thing, and that relates to the other misconception, which is the socialization. And this is close to me because that was my biggest literal anxiety about doing homeschooling. I was pretty bought into the effects, like the positive benefits and the effects on the mind and the character and the values and everything it offers. But I really was having trouble believing what homeschoolers were saying about socialization. But it's been a pleasant surprise. I think it's possible that at least our kids have more opportunity and more energy and more literal time to socialize than they did before. So, they're done with their core classes, their core stuff, reading, writing, math, science. They're done by around like noon because it's here's another way to look at a misconception. It's really like, it's not public school versus homeschooling. That's like apples and oranges. It's like a classroom versus a private tutor, right? And so you can't really compare those. You can compare those, but it's not a fair comparison. Right. And so with the private tutor, with just a couple students, they're getting done at their own pace, whether it's slower or faster than other students, usually by noon, and then the rest of the day they can do whatever they need to, which is socialize with other homeschoolers, socialize when the our public school friends come home, go to the different activities, get mentorship, go on a film set with Auntie Heather, leave for, I think Disneyland was part of the homeschool thing, which I don't know if that counts, but
That was a field trip.
Yeah, I didn't go to
trip.
Disneyland in public school. So.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, it was a film. They went, I think you guys left me for like 10 days or a week. I don't know. It was like
Yeah, we.
Yeah, so they left, and
The history of Hollywood.
It was our LA, our LA visit.
Yeah, and so that to me is, they were still learning, but it was a whole nother way. And they came back and got back to the math and the reading and the science and the book work.
Nice.
That's so great. And also, that's such a cool, I never really thought about the perspective of the individual tutor. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's so great. Now, for the kiddos, like, how did they adjust when you guys first began homeschooling?
So our youngest, Chloe, she did preschool, and then so her kindergarten year was homeschooling, and she's always been real close to mama, so she loves it. She didn't skip a beat. And then our son, Miles, he started in 4th grade, and so that was harder for him because he had already established a lot of friendships in the public school, and so it took him a little bit longer to adjust, and he kept comparing, this versus that, and I'd rather be in public school. So we noticed that it was his friends that he was missing, and so we just had to set up like outside time for him to play with his friends. And now with Zoom and all the different ways it can talk online, he's, now I think he gets the best of both worlds.
Nice.
So you've talked about some of the benefits of homeschooling. What would you say some of the drawbacks are?
Yeah, for me, it's just mommy getting some alone time.
Oh, that's real, man. That is real. I get that.
That's a huge drawback. So I have to be pretty diligent about scheduling that time. But I think that's a normal mom problem.
Yeah. This is a segment on health and wellness, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how
Tell
real
us about
you
your
want
spa day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know how real you want to get, but like it is worth talking for the whole season on how hard it is and how important it is for whoever's staying at home. In a lot of cases, it is the mother, but it is such a hard, like, mothers are already giving, like, enough, like, just as it is, but then to add on the responsibility, the 100, just about 100% day-to-day responsibility of teaching and educating them for life, and include the academics, it's a lot. And and then we're trying to do other stuff like keep the house clean and not have the laundry in the living room, and like get out.
It sounds like you get it. Like, Bridget, isn't that like music to your ears to hear your husband say that? You know what I mean? Like, you sound appreciated.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to say that, I'm proud to say that I get it, but I have to get it as well, like, because it affects the whole family.
Right.
And so
true.
that is not something to be underestimated. Like, it is a challenge for the whole family, because we are intentionally trying to, it's both the blessing and I guess the challenge or curse even of, like, we're really trying to lean into the family unit. And so there's going to be pressure that is challenging, but hopefully it has been for 3 years, 3rd year, been totally worth it.
Sure.
Wow,
That's
that is awesome. I mean, I wish we had more time, because this is a great conversation, and I learned a lot of stuff about homeschooling too that I didn't know. But before we let you go, what would you say to people out there who are seriously considering doing homeschooling? What advice would you give them?
We, For me, it would be you'll never be ready. So I kept pushing it off for years. You know, we thought about it since before kids. So I kept pushing it off. I'm not ready. I can't do this. And so the reality is somebody, you know, a veteran homeschooler said, you'll never be ready. So just try it. And you could always go back to the way that you were doing it beforehand. And so.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we could list a book. We could, you know, we actually did write a little guide, but I don't want to plug that right now. Like the main thing I would say is just to kind of build and reiterate on what she said. We know what the public school offers for you, and it's great, you know, especially our area, it's great. You know what it offers, and you know how much it works or does not work for you. But a lot of people do not know what homeschooling offers, right? And there's this just giant fear. And so I would say it's okay, be calm, and if you're nothing else, you can re-enroll immediately. Like the day, I mean, seriously, like the day I had so much anxiety about so many things, especially socialization, we put in the withdrawal letter to our very good public school system. And like, it was all gone just about until like the next day when our kids were blowing up. And, but for that day, it was pretty much all gone. And I was like, oh, we can just, you know, if we find this is not good for us, we'll just next semester, next month, we can just, you know, sign back up and we'll get back to it. It was all the misconceptions you said, Lawrence, and all the fears were a lot bigger than they had to be. So I guess in the same vein, I would say just try it. You know, you don't really have that much to lose.
That's such great advice. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. We definitely enjoyed you. For everyone else, we're going to take another commercial break. Don't go too far. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We have the pleasure of being here with the great, multi-talented, world-known Black Soldier. Black Soldier, welcome to the show.
What's up? It's a pleasure to be here.
How you been doing over this pandemic?
Man, I've been good. You know, honestly, even with everything kind of being different, I've been good because, you know, someone like the brand of y'all show, I've been able to chase my dreams a little more steady and, you know, try some new things.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, yes.
Well, I'd like to start off the show asking, what motivated you to become a DJ and do what you do?
Okay, well, just a little back history. I've been DJing now for about 10 years. So, you know, I started like in high school and, you know, at that time, of course, listening to the radio and just being inspired by a lot of the big name DJs I grew up listening to, from, you know, the late great Timbuktu, DJ Phantom, DJ V-Dub, and the list goes on. But, you know, my motivation really started with radio, and, you know, that's kind of what got me started, I'll say. But I grown from there, definitely.
Nice.
Awesome.
Just in case anyone doesn't know, but DJ Black Soldier actually DJ'd for me at my birthday party last year.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And
that had to have been an awesome party.
Oh, it was great. In fact, he did such a great time at the party that they actually asked him to come back, and he DJ'd for New Year's Eve there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
The
Man.
best.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, Lawrence gets down too.
I was gonna say, yeah, Lawrence.
He's sitting down right now. Hey.
He looks like he'd be a dancer. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
You look like you like to party.
Yeah.
Maybe
We got a
just
little
that
something
bit.
later. Mhm.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's so fun. So what would you say would be like the proper description of a DJ, like a real deal DJ?
Well, you know, I do my history, especially with any career I take. So I know the foundation of DJing started out as being a disc jockey. So you actually see me today with my turntables and 12-inch records. That's where it started, as far as having two turntables together and then being able to mix these songs cohesively and transition smoothly. That's really the foundation of DJing, but it's grown into, of course, as everyone knows, a world, renowned job or career that can take you all over the place, and you really get to expose yourself to different types of music, and that's what I love most about DJing.
So you'd said that initially radio sort of motivated you.
Yes.
Now, what motivates and inspires you?
It's really the connection with the people. So from being on the radio, even though a lot of people say, how can you DJ on the radio? No one, you don't get that immediate gratification.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Even with social media now, it's a little faster. So of course you got people blowing up the phone saying, what a great job, how can I get the mix? But then you also have people able to follow you in your regular life on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. So I just, I find it to be like a very great way to release, stress for those who might be looking into getting the DJing and express yourself. So that's
awesome.
that's how I feel about
Yeah.
Very, very nice. DJ Black Soldier, what kind of training or education or whatever does someone need in order to do what you do?
Well, I'll say before you even do that, you gotta really love music and have a passion for it. So it starts with that. So if you grew up listening to all type of records, or even if you have a specific genre that you so into, and you thought about playing for parties, or maybe you even have a Spotify playlist you do at a party and everyone goes crazy. It could start there. That's the start. But I really say, as far as training and learning, if you really want to get into it, find a mentor or someone who's doing what you want to do. They can say that in any field, but I really find it so important in DJing because I've learned a lot on my own in the beginning, but the relationships I built down the way, they forever helped me, find the true path of success and being able to progress in this, very competitive industry. But you really, those are like kind of two key factors to really have a passion for it if you're going to get into it, but also find a mentor, someone that's willing to take you on, in which I'm that type of guy too, just in case anyone does have interest in DJing. I'm looking for roadies, and these things aren't as light as they look. It look good right here, but hey.
That's awesome.
You just need someone to carry your gear. Just say it.
Hey, that's a good thing.
Start.
Yeah, share the wealth. Share the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of, some strength.
Labor.
Yes.
Now, what would you say would be like the ideal person, like to be a DJ? Like, what kind of person would you be like to fit a DJ position?
Man, anybody really, honestly, because over the years, from watching, people in person to seeing videos on YouTubes of, of course, I grew up in the era of stepping in Chicago. So rest in peace to the late, great Herb Kent, who was a Steppin' and Dusty's record legend. So, he was up there in his 80s, still DJing. I was helping him, as far as getting music together, but he was still a solid DJ at that age. But then you have these young DJs who are like 8, 10 years old that, I got to step away from the turntables to say, how did they do that? Because it's really, like I said at first, it's about having passion for it. But another thing to include is discipline and being able to really practice and get better. So you're never too old or you're never too young. But I can't lie, I did teach DJing. There are some age groups that, they're, they don't catch on as fast.
They're the lost causes. Is that what you're saying?
They're just
I mean,
distracted.
They just need a little more time, maybe a little more time. But who knows? They could be running circles around me in 2 or 3 years. But it's really just about having that passion and discipline when you think of it that way.
So, okay, so 2020 has been a rough year, a different year for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
How has that affected the pandemic? How has that affected the DJing business?
I'll put it like this. It's affected it in some good ways with me and then some challenging ways. Mm-hmm. So the good ways is I'm able to practice and hone my craft more at home and being able to try new things as far as like we're doing now, virtual interviews and doing DJ sets on different live streaming services. So that's a great way that I've kind of been able to grow and expose people more to the person behind the turntables other than, just some pictures that you might see on Instagram. So, that's been great. But, of course, challenges are not having as many events and loss of, regular income. But I thank God because even though a lot of this has slowed down, not as much business has like completely canceled and said we want our money back. So that's been a blessing that a lot of people understand, especially for those of us who do this like seriously, that they're willing to work with us on future dates and postpone things. So
nice.
It's had its ups and downs, but I gotta say it's been more good outcomes and being able to find really figure out what we want to do and how we want to pursue DJing. I feel like a lot of DJs are in that same bubble right now.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Black Soldier, let me ask you this. What would you say to someone that's out there right now watching you and, they love music, they got a passion for it, and they want to seriously go to the next level? What advice would you give them right now?
Do your research. Because it's not cheap. I'm not going to lie. It's not cheap. Yeah. And especially now it's kind of even more harder because you used to be able to just meet up with a DJ and play and like work with each other. But now, it's kind of hard because everyone's practicing social distancing. But if you have it or if you know someone who might be selling old DJ gear, don't be scared to try it at least. It might be cheaper than just buying everything new. So I'll really say, like, you got to be willing to invest and really wanting to do it because it's not cheap. But, once you get to doing it, you start to see some of the success of it or you even be able to make your money back from what you bought. It's so, it's such a blessing and I love it.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love it, yeah.
Well, everyone, we're going to take a quick break, and we have a special treat for you. Black Soldier is going to do something special just for our show. So make sure you don't go too far. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chase Your Dreams. We're back here with the wonderful Black Soldier. And before we get started on that great mix that you're going to do, Heather, I think you had a question as far as, being able to follow him and, what he's doing now.
Well, I mean, you guys you were talking about, you DJ in some of Lawrence's parties. Now, I want to know, how do we get in touch with you to make that happen now during the pandemic?
I mean, of course, the easiest way, everyone has social media. So whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, BLK Soldier. That's Black Soldier, BLK Soldier. You just look it up on any of those sites. I should pop up DJ Black Soldier, all the same. Awesome.
I think I might have a virtual party that I need you to DJ. So
yeah.
Let's talk schedules.
Let's talk.
Nice.
Yes, BLK, in case you missed it, blksoldier.com. This is his website.
Very nice, very nice.
Awesome.
Well, you know what? We've been waiting for this all day. So, Black Soldier, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Show us what you got.
Let's see. So today we're getting into one of my favorite genres and what I started on, which is ghetto house. And you know the songs, feel free to dance along. If you don't, just feel the vibe.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Hold up.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. 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 Wait a minute.
All right.
Wait a minute. 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 Shake, now bounce, now pop, now drop, now twerk, now work. Now come on, y'all, let's do. Now shake, now bounce, now pop, now drop, now twerk, now work. Now come on, y'all, let's do. Now shake, now bounce, now pop, now drop, now twerk, now work. Now come on, y'all, let's do. We about to get it juking. So what you came to do?
Keeping it Chicago.
The flow. Let me see you drop it low. Everybody in the building say,
Hey, yo.
all the ladies in the house, all the fellas is too. We about to get it juking. So what you came to do? Girls hit the flow. Let me see you drop it low. Everybody in the building say, hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. All the ladies in the house, all the fellas is too. We about to get it juking. So what you came to do? Girls hit the flow. Let me see you drop it low. Everybody in the building say, hey, all the ladies,
Uh-oh. It's taking it back to high school, middle school. When we open up that circle. Open up the circle on the dance floor.
Yeah, who's jumping in first? Lawrence?
And see who got the best words. Who could dance the best.
Oh, they're gonna dance better than me. I can tell you that now.
Bounce, 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 drop, bounce, 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 drop, bounce, 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 drop, bounce, 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 drop, bounce, 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 bounce,
Hold up.
Juju on that beat. Now slide, chop, hit the hole, no stop, ayy. Don't stop, ayy. Don't stop, ayy. Run a man on that beat, ayy. Run a man on that beat, ayy. Run a man on that beat, ayy. Run a man on that beat. Now do your dance, ayy. You ugly, three. You your daddy, you your daddy, you your daddy, you your daddy, you your daddy.
Alright, let's go. In the circle. Let's go. Go best friend, 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 go best friend. Let's go.
Three,
Ladies.
level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this stuff so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all your tummy. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this stuff so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all your tummy. Then more mistakes are gone, I won't do them no more. That's whole news, there's news. I done did that before. I turn nothing to something. My comeback on 100. Let's talk it, more action. You just go see coming. I just keep elevating. No losses, just upgrading. My lessons make blessings. I turn that into money. They gotta never settle. This view is so much better. I'm chilling, I'm winning, like on another level. Oh, you can talk all you want. See me as a greater, nothing I'm afraid of, and I can have it all. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this stuff so yummy. Know you want this yummy.
I know I gave it months ago. I know you're trying to forget. I know I gave it months ago. I know you're trying to forget. I know I gave it, 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 go, go, 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 gave it, go, 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 gave it, go, 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 gave it, go. And you feel like you falling, feel like you falling, feel like you falling, feel like you falling.
Here we go.
Down,
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 down.
down.
Let's go. One more time.
I know I gave it, 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 gave it. I know I gave it, 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 gave it.
Black Soldier, Black Soldier, Black Soldier, Black Soldier, Black Soldier, Black Soldier. Thank y'all so much.
Oh yeah.
Black
I just
Soldier,
needed
that
a
was
drink
awesome.
I
in my hand, man.
know, seriously. I was like Jack and Coke, maybe. No.
That was great.
The only thing I was just missing was my drink right now, but I'm good though.
So good.
Well, Black Soldier, we
Yeah,
had so much fun. I appreciate you coming in, talking about a career and DJing and putting together a special mix for us live on the show. We thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Y'all have been awesome. It's truly a pleasure. Anytime y'all need me, if I'm available and I'm able to, I'm here.
Nice.
I appreciate it.
Hey, and we'll find that roadie for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Still looking.
Hey, Black Soldier, before we let you leave out of here, do us a favor. Tell us again how people can follow you and also how they can potentially hire you as well.
Yes. So right now, you got a little taste of what I can do. But if you go to my website, I have a few different types of mixes. So I'm talking about mainstream pop, some 2020 turn up music, to some steppers music for my man Lawrence. You already know. But blksoldier.com, blacksoldier.com. You can see more virtual mixes like this, and I'm really big on doing these virtual parties. So please, visit the website, go to my booking page, check out the videos, and just let me know what y'all think, and keep supporting the show. This is, you know, this is great. I really appreciate y'all for doing this. You know, for everyone who's been on the show, this is a big opportunity when we don't have many right now to create and connect and, you know, showcase what we can do. So again, it's truly a privilege. Black Soldier, that's BLK Soldier.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank
again.
you.
We had such a great time. And like I said, you're definitely welcome to come back at any time.
Much love.
All right, everyone. We're going to go to break. And again, thank you, Black Soldier. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We had such a great show today.
It was so great. We had so much fun with all of our guests. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We want to thank Sean Bartholomae, just amazing stories and what a cool career, video engineering. We want to thank Marc and Bridget Mantasoot telling us more about homeschooling. I mean, you let us know a lot that we didn't know. And Black Soldier, I mean, come on, that was fun.
So good.
We had a
So
great
good.
time dancing.
And if you missed any of this episode or want to check it out again, just go to our YouTube channel and just type in Chase Your Dreams S1E5, Season 1, Episode 5. Subscribe to our channel. And you can also find us on Instagram at Chase Your Dreams TV.
Absolutely. And like I said, everyone, we had such a great time. Thank everyone for coming. And again, chase your dreams. Where dreams become reality. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.